Airport, where time is running out for thousands of Americans and Afghans to board flights out of the country. Tonight, President Biden is vowing to finish the evacuation with just 5 days to go before his withdrawal deadline.
He's also vowing to hunt down the terrorist group and those responsible for today's suicide bombings. Tonight, the military death toll stands at 13, including 10 Marines, 18 service members, and dozens of Afghan civilians were injured. More than 90 Afghans were killed. The terror group ISIS-K claimed responsibility for the suicide bombings and the gunfire at a gate and a hotel outside the Kabul airport.
We will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
Tonight, the horrific attack is sending shockwaves throughout the world and right here at home. KOMO's Cole Miller spoke with a JBLM veteran about this tragedy and how it all played out. Cole?
Preston, good evening. He tells me the location of that airport, situated there in the heart of Kabul, along with the sheer number of people surrounding it, make it nearly indefensible. And he says the mission moving ahead will be one that is chocked full of difficult decisions. The devastating images out of Afghanistan's capital, where 13 U.S. service members and dozens of Afghans were killed in a pair of suicide bombings mixed with gunfire.
Sadly, any of us that spent time in either Iraq or Afghanistan saw this kind of thing.
Retired Colonel Mike Kortz served with JBLM's Army First Corps.
We just had to see this was coming. Everybody knew this was a risk.
With that horrific act having played out, it begs the question of what comes next. With more than 100,000 people in all having been evacuated from Kabul's airport, an estimated 1,500 U.S. citizens are still there on the ground.
You're going to have to bring other assets into the country to go do that. Are you willing to commit that kind of escalation to try to go get people out? That's a tough call to make.
Washington state lawmakers are also weighing in. Representative Adam Smith, chair of the House Armed Services Committee, tweeted, quote, "We will never forget the ultimate sacrifice made by U.S. service members as this operation continues." And with some Republicans calling on President Joe Biden to resign in the wake of these attacks, Representative Derek Kilmer said this during a virtual town hall Thursday.
I think today is not about politics. Today is about remembering, honoring the lives that we've lost.
Well, Afghan Americans here tell me they are so desperate. They say that the deadly attack at the Kabul airport is a frightening reminder that the danger is escalating, that lives are at stake, and that more help is needed.
I haven't slept for the last 10 days since the Kabul fell into the hand of terrorists.
Fear, frustration, desperation. That's what so many Afghan Americans are feeling right now. Mohammed Yor is terrified about what's going to happen to his brother and his family in Kabul.
It is a mess, and I hope my family, my brother, that he is a SIV applicant, he get out from Afghanistan as soon as possible.
Yor's brother worked as a dispatcher alongside U.S. military. The deadly blast at the airport in Kabul, a horrifying reminder for everyone.
Today's blast shows that Afghanistan is not a safe place for people that work for the U.S. Army.
KOMO News talked to the executive director of Afghan Health Initiative in South King County.
We're devastated. It has been very tough time for our community here in Washington, Afghan community.
His plea to the president, lawmakers, and veterans?
Please, we were working with you shoulder to shoulder in the mission of Afghanistan for past 20 years. Hopefully, we will extend the deadline to make sure that these people are not left behind.
Meanwhile, U.S. Army veteran and Seattle attorney Deanna Tran has been working feverishly to get her Afghan translator out of Afghanistan.
His situation is extremely dire because of the work that we did as it relates to, fighting corruption. That puts him directly as a target for the Taliban.
She says her translator somehow managed to make it safely inside the Kabul airport before the deadly blast happened. Tran is not sharing any further details yet because things are still so uncertain.
Yeah, they absolutely are. We're here at state offices where state workers are keeping close tabs on all these new developments. Now, it's not just the vaccine mandate. It also has to do with the mask mandate. In fact, a county commissioners meeting erupted when one of the commissioners refused to put on a mask.
Mr. Chairman, I suppose it falls to me once again.
Franklin County Commissioner Brad Peck admonishing fellow Commissioner Clint Didier for refusing to wear a mask and ending up walking out.
Commissioner Mullen, will you conduct the meeting with me?
Didier said it's a protest of the governor's mask mandate.
We cannot have our God-given liberties taken away by a governor, flat out.
And with the governor's vaccination mandates for all state workers and school employees comes backlash in the form of a protest rally set for the state capitol Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m., featuring state workers.
They're going to be sharing their stories, sharing their experiences, and the point is to let the governor and let the rest of the state understand that they're threatening about a third of the workforce for the state in key areas.
And even more pushback in the governor's requirement for a religious exemption for state employees, asking, you assert that you have a sincerely held religious belief or religious conviction that prevents you from receiving the COVID-19 vaccine, yes or no? And this controversial question, you agree that you have never received a vaccine or medicine from a healthcare provider as an adult, yes or no? Former State Attorney General Ron McKenna believes that won't hold up in the courts.
And I don't know why he's put through this test for the religious exemption that I don't see any support for in the law. But apparently he wants to make the religious exemption as hard to use as possible.
And there's no such question for school employees.
That second question isn't in there. It's a series of questions. Yeah. You have to state your religious reasons, but there's no bar that's that high.
Yeah, I think that creates greater difficulties for the governor's office to defend.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for checking out our YouTube page. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell from the KOMO weather team. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for additional news from the Seattle area and Western Washington. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't ever miss our YouTube updates.